I'm Mira, and my life was a quiet canvas of routine, painted in muted shades of predictability, until one rainy night shattered everything I thought I knew. Standing in my kitchen, the steam of dinner curling around me, I watched my husband, Ethan, place a mysterious envelope on the table, his eyes burning with a secret that made my heart race. 12 years of marriage, countless whispered moments in the dark, and yet I felt like I was seeing him for the first time. What he proposed that night wasn't just a game. It was a dangerous dance on the edge of who we are, a temptation to unravel the very threads of our bond. What did I step into, and how far did I let myself fall? Picture this: a quiet evening where the world seems to hum with secrets, and I'm standing at the edge of my own life, peering into a mirror that doesn't quite reflect who I thought I was. My name is Mira, and at 37, I've carved out a space in this world that feels both safe and suffocating. I live in a modest home on the outskirts of a sleepy town, where the air always smells faintly of pine and forgotten dreams. My days are a rhythm of routine, but beneath the surface, there's a current pulling me somewhere I can't yet name. I'm not here to tell you a story of grand adventures or epic battles. No, my tale is quieter, more intimate, but no less raw. It's about the unspoken things that bind us, the invisible threads that can either hold us together or unravel everything. I share this life with Ethan, my husband of 12 years. He's 40, a man of steady hands and quiet intensity, with eyes that seem to see right through the walls I've built around myself. We met in a way that felt like fate, though I'm not sure I believe in that anymore. Two lost souls crossing paths at a local art gallery, drawn to the same obscure painting of a storm-tossed sea. He was a carpenter then, still is, crafting furniture with a kind of care that makes you think he's pouring his soul into every cut of wood. I was a freelance graphic designer, chasing deadlines and dreaming of something more. We built a life together, piece by piece, like one of his intricate tables, each joint fitted just so. But even the strongest structures can hide cracks, can't they? Our home is a sanctuary of sorts, filled with the scent of sawdust and the soft glow of lamps I picked out years ago. We've made memories here, countless nights tangled in each other's warmth, moments where the world outside ceased to exist. I can still feel the heat of his breath on my skin during those stolen hours, the way we'd lose ourselves in a dance of desire, a silent language only we understood. It's not something I'd shout from the rooftops, but it's real, a fierce, unspoken connection that pulses beneath the mundane. We'd lie there afterward, the quiet wrapping around us like a blanket, and I'd wonder if this was all there was, or if something deeper waited just out of reach. But life isn't just those heated whispers in the dark. It's also the mornings where we barely speak, passing each other like ships in the fog, each lost in our own thoughts. Ethan's hands, once so eager to reach for me, now often linger on his tools, his focus elsewhere. I see the weight he carries, the way his shoulders slump when he thinks I'm not looking. And me? I bury myself in my designs, sketching lines on a screen that feels safer than the ones I can't draw between us. We're still a team, still bound by vows and history, but there's a distance growing, subtle distance growing between us. It was a rainy Thursday evening when Ethan came through the door, his suit slightly damp from the downpour outside, clinging to his broad shoulders in a way that made him look both weary and determined. In his hand, he held a mysterious envelope, the edges slightly creased as if he'd been gripping it too tightly. I was in the kitchen, stirring a pot of soup, the steam rising in lazy curls, when I caught sight of him. His hazel eyes flickered with a rare excitement, a spark I hadn't seen in months, maybe years. He didn't say a word at first, just crossed the room and set the envelope down on the table with a deliberate thud. Then he looked at me, really looked at me, and gestured for me to sit. I wiped my hands on a dish towel, my heart picking up a strange rhythm as I slid into the chair across from him. The overhead light cast shadows across his face, sharpening the lines of his jaw, making him look almost like a stranger for a fleeting moment. "Mira," he started, his voice calm but heavy with intent. "I've signed us up for something different." I tilted my head, waiting as he tapped the envelope with a calloused finger. "It's an exclusive experience at a private club called The Veil, a place where people can step out of their everyday lives, play different roles, even if it's just for a few hours." My brows furrowed, confusion swirling in my mind like the rain outside. What did he mean by roles? Was this some kind of game? A costume party? I opened my mouth to ask, but he held up a hand, sensing my questions before I could voice them. "It's part theater, part psychological experiment," he explained, his gaze steady on mine. "It's designed to push boundaries, to wake up emotions we've buried or forgotten. You get to be someone else, feel something new." I felt a tightness in my chest, a mix of curiosity and unease. "Ethan, what exactly are we talking about here?" I asked, my voice quieter than I intended. "I mean, stepping out of our lives? How far does that go?" He leaned forward, his expression softening but still intense. "It's safe, Mira, controlled. But it's meant to challenge us, to strip away the masks we wear every day without even realizing it. It could be liberating." I swallowed hard, my fingers fidgeting with the edge of the tablecloth. The idea of being someone else, even temporarily, was intriguing in a way I couldn't quite name. But it also scared me. What if I didn't like who I became? What if this changed us in ways we couldn't predict? I looked into his eyes, searching for doubt, but all I saw was a quiet plea, a need for something more than the routine we'd fallen into. "I'm not sure I'm ready for this," I admitted, my voice barely above a whisper. He reached across the table, his hand covering mine. I felt a sense of reassurance. As I stepped into the small, dimly lit room at the Veil, the air feels heavier, like it's pressing against my skin with unspoken promises. The walls are black, absorbing what little light spills from a single chandelier above, its flickering glow dancing across the space like a restless spirit. 7 strangers stand before me in a semicircle, each dressed in black, their faces hidden behind opaque masks that reveal nothing but the glint of eyes in the shadows. They're silent, motionless, yet their presence pulls at me, both unsettling and magnetic, like a force I can't name but can't ignore. I adjust the white mask covering my own face, its edges cool against my cheeks, but it feels flimsy, a fragile shield between me and whatever this night holds. The air is thick with anticipation, almost suffocating, carrying a scent I can't place, something musky, primal, that sets my nerves on edge. In the corner, Ethan stands apart, his own mask obscuring any hint of expression. Even so, I can feel his gaze on me, steady and piercing, as if he's seeing straight into the parts of me I've kept locked away. He leans in close, his breath warm against my ear as he whispers, "Try not to think. Just feel. Let yourself be." His voice is low, encouraging, sending a shiver racing down my spine that I can't suppress. My heart is a wild drum in my chest, torn between two urges. Part of me screams to turn back, to flee this strange, suffocating room and the unknown it promises. But another part, buried deep beneath years of routine and restraint, claws its way to the surface, desperate to break free from the predictable cage of my life. I've spent so long being Mira, the dependable, the safe. What if, just for tonight, I could be something else? Before I can dwell on it, the door creaks open, and Celeste, the host, steps in. Her presence commands the room, her black gown flowing like liquid shadow, her mask a stark contrast with intricate silver patterns. Her voice is smooth, almost hypnotic, as she lays out the rules. No names, no speaking unless it's necessary, just presence, instinct. Let those guide you. She lingers for only a moment, her gaze sweeping over us like she's measuring our resolve, before she slips out again, leaving us in the flickering half-light. The silence that follows is shattered by a slow, haunting melody creeping from hidden speakers, its notes curling around us like tendrils of smoke. The strangers begin to move, their steps deliberate, circling closer, and I feel the space between us shrink with every breath. It starts with a glance. A tall figure among the seven turns their head, and through the slits of their mask, their eyes lock onto mine. It's a piercing look, sharp and unrelenting, and it ignites something in me I haven't felt in years. A spark. A heat that blooms low in my chest and spreads like wildfire. I should look away, should anchor myself to Ethan's presence in the corner, but I don't. I can't. Then, another moment. A fleeting touch as someone passes by, their fingers brushing my arm. The warmth lingers, far longer than it should, seeping through the thin fabric of my sleeve and into my skin. My breath catches, and I'm hyper-aware of every sensation, every shift in the air. Another stranger moves past, their shoulder grazing mine, a deliberate slowness to the contact that sends a jolt through me. I don't pull away. I don't want to. With each interaction, I feel layers of myself peeling back, like old paint flaking off a forgotten wall. Another figure steps close, so near I can hear the soft rhythm of their breathing, feel the heat radiating from them. My pulse races as their hand hovers near mine, not quite touching but close enough that the air between us feels charged, electric. I'm caught in this unspoken dance, each subtle gesture pulling me deeper into a version of myself I thought was long gone. A Mira who craves, who dares, who feels without apology. I glance toward Ethan, expecting to see anger or hurt in his stance, but he remains still, watching with an unreadable expression. As the haunting melody fades into a whisper, the door creaks open once more and Celeste re-enters the room, her presence a silent command that cuts through the charged atmosphere. Her silver-patterned mask glints under the dim chandelier light as she gestures subtly, signaling the end of this strange, intoxicating session. The strangers around me, those shadowy figures in black, begin to disperse without a word, their forms melting into the darkness of the room like ghosts retreating into the night. One by one, they slip away, leaving behind an eerie stillness that presses against me, heavier now without their electric energy. I'm left standing there, the weight of what just happened settling over me like a thick fog, and I can feel Ethan's gaze still burning into me from across the space, unwavering, unreadable. My hands tremble as I reach up to remove my white mask, the cool edges slipping from my skin, exposing my flushed face to the air. It's a sudden shock, the chill against my heated cheeks, like stepping out of a fever dream into reality. My chest feels tight, as if the weight of every unspoken moment from tonight is pressing down on me, making it hard to draw a full breath. I don't dare look at Ethan directly, not yet. I can't face whatever might be in his eyes, judgment, hurt, or something I can't even name. Instead, I focus on the sensation of my own body, the way my fingers shake as I clutch the mask, the way my heart still races, refusing to slow down. What have I done? What did I let myself become in those fleeting charged moments? Celeste guides us out of the room without a word, her black gown trailing behind her like a shadow. We move back through the velvet-lined hallway, the deep crimson fabric on the walls seeming to pulse faintly in the low light, as if it holds the secrets of everyone who's walked this path before. My steps feel unsteady, each one echoing in my ears, a reminder of how far I've strayed from the Mira I thought I knew. We emerge into the main lounge area of the Vale, a larger space where other masked participants mingle in hushed tones, their faces still hidden, their intentions cloaked in mystery. The air here is different, less suffocating. but it does little to ease the storm raging inside me. I steal a glance at Ethan as he moves beside me, his posture rigid, his hands steady as he lifts his own mask away. His face is revealed in the soft glow of the lounge's ambient lighting, but his expression is a locked door. No hint of emotion, no clue to what he's thinking. His jaw is set, tight and unyielding, and it only deepens the knot of dread in my stomach. Inside my mind, it's chaos. Shame claws at me, sharp and unrelenting, for letting myself get so caught up in the pull of those strangers, for giving in to impulses I didn't even know I had. I feel like I've betrayed Ethan, betrayed us, even if no words were spoken, even if the boundaries we crossed were unspoken ones. But beneath the shame, there's confusion. Why didn't he step in? Why did he stand there, watching, letting it all unfold without a word? Did he want this to happen? Did he feel the same pull I did? Or was he testing me in some way I can't understand? And then, woven through it all, there's this strange, undeniable thrill. A rush I can't shake, a reminder of how alive I felt in those moments, how every nerve in my body seemed to wake up after years of dormancy. It's a feeling I'm not sure I want to let go of, even as it terrifies me. We don't speak as we retrieve our coats from the attendant. The silence between us thicker than the velvet on the walls, heavier than the masks we've just shed. I slip my coat over my shoulders, the fabric feeling like a barrier between me and the rawness of the night, but it does nothing to shield me from the tension radiating off Ethan. We step outside into the cool night air, and the sudden shift in temperature hits me like a slap, sharp and bracing. The city hums as we leave the enigmatic atmosphere of the Vale behind. I slide into the passenger seat of our old sedan, the leather cool against my still heated skin. Ethan turns the key, and the engine comes to life with a low, steady rumble, a sound that seems to echo the unspoken tension hanging between us. I stare out the window, unable to meet his gaze, watching the streetlights streak by in blurred lines of gold and amber. Each passing light feels like a fleeting moment, a reminder of the charged encounters I can't shake from my mind. My heart is still pounding, a relentless drumbeat of guilt and uncertainty as I brace myself for the confrontation I'm sure is coming. I've crossed a line tonight, felt things I shouldn't have, and I'm terrified of what he might say, of how he might see me now. But then, in a gesture that catches me completely off guard, Ethan reaches over and takes my hand. His grip is firm yet gentle, a quiet strength that anchors me in the storm of my thoughts. I turn to him, startled, my breath hitching as I meet his eyes. There's no anger there, no judgment, just a quiet intensity, a depth I haven't seen in years. It's as if he's looking straight into the raw, unfiltered parts of me, the parts I've hidden even from myself. His voice breaks the silence, steady and low, carrying a weight that makes my chest tighten. You were brave. I saw the real you. And it's more beautiful than I imagined. The words hit me like a wave, crashing over the walls I've built, leaving me exposed and reeling. I can't speak, can't find the air to form a response. My breath catches in my throat as I process what he's saying. He's not condemning me for what happened back there. He's embracing it, seeing something in me I didn't even know was there. A flood of emotions surges through me. Relief so sharp it almost hurts. Confusion at how he could possibly see beauty in my vulnerability. And a renewed connection that feels like a lifeline in the chaos. I squeeze his hand back, the pressure a silent acknowledgement of everything I can't yet put into words. Tears prick at the corners of my eyes, hot and unexpected, and I blink them away, not wanting to break this fragile moment. Outside, the city lights blur into a kaleidoscope of colors, but all I can focus on is the way they reflect in Ethan's eyes, casting tiny glimmers across his steady gaze. His thumb begins to trace small circles on my skin, a gesture so intimate it sends a shiver through me, a warmth spreading from where we touch. It feels like we're meeting for the first time, like the years of distance and routine have melted away, leaving only this raw, unspoken bond between us. We don't say much more during the drive home. Words seem unnecessary, almost inadequate for the weight of what's shifted between us. But the silence is different now. It's not the empty, heavy quiet of before. It's charged with understanding, with a shared recognition of what we've both experienced tonight. I let myself sink into it, into the rhythm of the car moving through the night, the hum of the engine a steady backdrop to my racing thoughts. My mind replays fragments of the evening, the electric tension in that dark room, the way I let myself feel without restraint, the way Ethan watched it all unfold and somehow saw beauty in my unraveling. I'm still not sure what it all means, still grappling with the mix of shame and exhilaration that lingers in my veins, but his hand in mine feels like a promise, a tether to something we might rebuild. As we turn onto familiar streets, the city's glow fades into the quieter, tree-lined roads of our neighborhood. The tension in my shoulders eases slightly, though my heart still flutters with a nervous energy I can't quite name. I glance at Ethan again, taking in the lines of his profile, the way the dim light from passing street lamps highlights the strength in his jaw, the softness in the curve of his lips. There's a steadiness to him, a quiet resolve that makes me wonder what he's truly thinking. The next morning, I wake to the gentle warmth of sunlight spilling through the curtains of our bedroom, casting golden streaks across the rumpled sheets. For a moment, I lie there, blinking against the brightness, letting the quiet of the house settle over me like a soft blanket. My body feels heavy, as if the weight of last night's revelations at the Vale has seeped into my bones. But there's a strange lightness in my chest, too, something I can't quite name yet. I roll over, expecting to find Ethan beside me, but his side of the bed is empty, the pillow still indented from where his head rested. The faint aroma of coffee drifts up from downstairs, mingling with the familiar scent of our home, grounding me in this new day. I slip out of bed, my bare feet padding against the cool hardwood floor as I make my way down the stairs. The sounds of morning filter through the air, the distant chirp of birds outside, the soft clink of a mug being set down, the low hum of Ethan moving about in the kitchen. When I reach the doorway, I pause, taking in the sight of him. He's standing by the counter, dressed in a simple t-shirt and jeans, his hair still slightly mussed from sleep. The coffee maker gurgles behind him, filling the room with that rich, earthy scent I've always loved. It's a scene I've witnessed 1,000 times, yet today, it feels different. There's a subtle shift in the way he carries himself, a quiet ease in his shoulders that wasn't there before. And when he turns to look at me, there's a warmth in his hazel eyes, a flicker of something unspoken, but deeply felt. I cross the room, my steps slow, almost hesitant, as if I'm testing the ground beneath us. He offers me a small smile, one that reaches his eyes, and gestures to the table where 2 steaming mugs wait. I slide into my usual chair, wrapping my hands around the warm ceramic, letting the heat seep into my palms. We sit there for a moment, just the two of us, the world outside fading into a distant murmur. The silence between us isn't heavy like it used to be, isn't laced with unspoken frustrations or the weight of things left unsaid. Instead, it feels comfortable, like a shared breath after a long, exhausting journey. I catch his gaze over the rim of my mug, and he mirrors my small smile, a quiet acknowledgement passing between us. As I sip my coffee, the bitter warmth grounding me, my mind wanders back to last night at the Vale. I think about the charged air in that dark room, the way I let myself unravel in ways I never thought possible. I remember the intensity of those fleeting connections, the way they stirred something dormant inside me, awakening a part of myself I'd buried under years of routine. And I recall Ethan's steady presence through it all, watching, not with judgment, but with a kind of raw understanding. Sitting here now in the light of day, I realize I don't regret what happened. Not because of the boundaries I pushed or the unspoken lines I crossed, but because it tore down the facades we'd built around ourselves. It forced us to see each other, really see each other, for the first time in years. It wasn't about betrayal. It was about exposure, about laying bare the parts of us we'd hidden, even from ourselves. I'm pulled from my thoughts when Ethan reaches across the table, his movements slow and deliberate. His fingers brush against my cheek, gently tucking a stray strand of hair behind my ear. It's a simple gesture, one he's done countless times before, but today, it carries a weight that steals my breath. His touch lingers for just a moment longer than necessary, his calloused fingertips grazing my skin, and I feel a rush of warmth, a silent promise woven into the contact. I look into his eyes, and there's a tenderness there, a renewed trust that feels like a fragile, precious thing. It's as if in this small act, he's telling me that he sees me, all of me, and he's still here, still choosing us. I lean into his touch for a heartbeat before Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment if you enjoyed this story. This will help us create more engaging stories for you